have stone through here, so doing things like this.
Okay, guys, I want you to back up a little bit. I want you to give yourself a little bit of space, and I growing plants.
Stuff or dead stuff?
I'd say 85.
Let's give this credit. How much percent bare ground do you see? Let's do that.
0.
You don't see any.
Maybe 5%. 1%? 25 and the only there? Yeah. There's a lot of liquor.
So do we all kind of agree that there's very little percent bare ground?
Yeah.
There is some, what we call detritus, and I'm going to explain that in a little while. We did bring a shovel, right?
I did. Here it is.
Okay, good. I'll talk to you about the design in a little second, before we do the infiltration. One of the clear things that you can do right away, we have a drought, and we have to remember that context. But one of the most important things I do as I walk out is I could feel when I was walking with my shoes. I'll sense how hard the ground is, and I look around. Campbell's already talked about bird species. Listen. He already told us there's like 12, 15 diversity over here. So from an ecosystem process, how do you rate this particular spot or rate, and if you look at the farm around, from capturing sun, if we had rain and the plants were, do you think we have a functioning energy flow going down here?
Yeah.
100%. I would say yes. Anybody disagree with that?
Sort of.
Tell me what you think.
We're beyond permanent wilting point. All your broadleafs are collapsed.
Right, and that was the key question, the comment I made. If there was photosynthetic and we were not in a drought. But he's right. Right now we're shut down for energy.
Yep.
So your point's taken, Phil. But let me ask you this then. Started having a massive rain. Would we have any runoff coming off?
Yeah, if it was heavy rain, we would. There's not, like, you don't have to scratch away too much, and the litter's not incorporating that well. Like, it's still covered, but I think a heavy rain event, you'd still see runoff off this.
I guess we have to kind of say if it was within reason, if you had a couple of inches per hour.
Yeah.
Do you think?
When the swales will pull it up as well.
I think, well, that's why we're going to do the infiltration rate. We'll see what we can handle. I'm just going to throw wild gas. I think it can handle more than that. I may be wrong. We'll see. So, biodiversity, check. If it wasn't a drought, it'd be check. Yeah, we'd be capturing sun. But right now it's shut down. How about a water cycle? Water cycle, we said, I think it's functioning, but we'll see how well it's functioning. Better than any crop field, I can tell you that. How about the nutrient cycle? It's shut down too, right? But the whole thing, as I'm saying, is if you take a normal year, I think this would be a functional system. Would anybody disagree with that?
I don't know, are you seeing any mummified poos? Like, I've just seen fresh ones, so it kind of means they're breaking down, but like that's an indicator.
I saw several of them, but
fresh ones,
those were fresh.
Yeah, I haven't seen any.
Do you have a problem then not cycling through the roo poo?
No, you don't. I don't have any sort of like really old roo poo.
That's encouraging.
Yeah, it's good.
That's a good indicator, right?
Yeah.
That's a very good indicator. That's one thing you look at if it's taking a long time through cycle.
Even the olives are breaking down quite well, like the last season olives and stuff.
Now let's get that shovel full, okay? And then I'm going to show you the design of the soil that I use all the time to see that all of them are present. And you can do that. I know the soil's a little hard.
Campbell, do you ever see any native dung beetles on the roof poo?
No. Haven't gone looking that much.
No, but you'd see them. They'd be fluffy little piles.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we always learn on the shoulders of others. And I'm so glad there's scientists that take the love to write it down. I saw how Phil took the energy to write it in a book, the information, and I'm so glad there's people like that write it down. Where I learned this was from Dr. Odom, who we call the father of ecology in the United States, and I will have that paper there for you. Okay, that paper will be on the Google Drive. Dr. Odom and Dr. Baer shows that there is 5 there's 5 spheres on this soil, and they're called spheres of area of influence. But I added one, which is the phyllosphere, and we talked about that the other day, is the surface of the plant. So the one that you pull out here, and all of you can look, and so in fact, everybody get down a little bit, and I'll show you something. Everybody get down, and I'll show you this. I want you to move the skin, that's called the detritus. Everybody move that skin from there. And I want you to, what do you guys notice right off the top of the bat when you pull that skin?
A lot of seed on there.
Very good. What else do you notice?
Dark colour.
Do you see any crust?
No.
There is no crust,
All cracking.
and there's no cracking. So what you have, everywhere you have that carbonaceous material skin interface, in fact, you have tiny little BB aggregates on the top. Even at now, and you have the population, so that detritus, we call it the detritus sphere. And detritus means materials that are unrecognizable. So if somebody tells you your car looks like detritus, that's not a compliment. But okay, so that skin is precious. Every healthy natural ecosystem that has a soil functioning, a majority of it will have its skin. That skin is critical. So, what does that skin do? Let's start off with the skin before we go all the spheres. What's that skin? It protects the soil.
Compaction from the rain.
Yeah. So that kinetic energy from the raindrop slows it down.
Primary infiltration, right?
Absolutely. So it slows it down. So aggregation.
Feeds the microbes.
Yes. Thank you. It feeds microbes. What else?
Regulates temperature, like
Right.
it's like
Yes. Thank you.
a blanket.
What else?
Stops albedo.
Yes. Thank you.
What's
You're
that
the
word?
albedo.
What's that?
It's reflection to, on really hot days you can burn the underneath of the leaf if you don't have the detritus layer.
You know, Phil, we're going to have to write this down because you're the first one that's
How do
ever
you
said
spell
that.
that, Phil?
Albedo.
It's plant libido.
Okay. Yeah, at first you sounded like libido, and they go, whoa. Slow this thing down. Okay, so.
Reflection from the soil to the
Okay, so
underside of
it's
the
interesting
plant.
that he brought that up. Right now, some recent research paper came out saying, look, the evaporation model is not coming out. We're not figuring out, we know heat causes evaporation, but the mass is still not penciling out. So a recent paper showed the albedo, the light reflecting also the photons, is also causing evaporation.
Yeah.
So it's incredibly important to shade that soil surface.
It does another thing too.
Yeah.
In the evening it stops infrared release, which also increases evaporation.
Good.
So we're not getting conversion to sensible heat.
And that'd keep the soil warmer for longer into the night.
You don't want it warmer into the night during summer. So what's it's doing is it's stopping the absorption of photons,
Yeah.
which agitates the atoms. And once that photon input stops, they then release via infrared. So if you're covering it, it takes it on. The plants actually, firstly, they die through permanent wilting point, but evapotranspiration's occurring. So if you haven't noticed, we're actually cooler here than we're over there.
Yeah.
Even though there's an absence of water here, all this is pumping a little bit out. And so that energy is going to evapotranspiration, not to sensible heat, which is infrared.
Yeah.
And not to albedo bouncing back.
And that transpiration's taking up heat.
Oh yeah.
Absorbing.
Well, you've all boiled water, and you know the temperature doesn't get hotter than 100.
Yeah.
It simply doesn't. Because no matter how much energy you put in, until the water's gone, the latent heat of conversion. Have you walked on a bitumen road and noticed, it's quite hot, but surprisingly enough, you put a temperature gun on it. The day temperature might run 40, bare ground will run 55 or 60, but bitumen only runs roughly 40 to 45 because the bitumen's melting. That's latent heat again.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
Ever lost a pair of pluggers on a hot day up in bitumen? I had.
No, beautiful. Thank you, Phil. You added to the conversation. Okay, so we still haven't put all of them. Feeds the biology, cools, helps regulate temperature. We talked about it doesn't affect, it helps with the albedo. What else?
Litter incorporation.
Did anybody say it's habitat for the biology?
The biology.
Yeah.
Do you know that also that the insect biology, according to one of the PhD entomologists, that insects, about 70% of the insects continue their life cycle in that first 1 or 2 inches of the soil. So the skin is very, very, so if you're disking this material, if you're plowing it under, you're affecting all that habitat.
Or if you're grazing it off.
So I've been told, go ahead, Martin.
Right there's generally not a lack of oxygen either. Like everything's ready to happen right there.
Some soil scientists got a little upset with me because they, Ray, do you want to go do a pit? And I said, not really. If I don't get the first 2 or 3 inches, why do I care about the next 10 miles? This habitat is very, very important. What else? There's some more stuff here.
It would help hold the raindrops there if
Yeah.
they were tempted to fall off for all the
Yeah,
detritus
we already
would
talked about it.
actually
Regulate
hold it.
temperature,
Yeah.
impact rain. What else?
Wind.
So the other
Oh,
insects
yeah, erosion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wind erosion.
Yeah. Yep, we already took care of that because we talked about rain impact. What else? So it prevents a crust, so that allows CO2 oxygen gas exchange as it's breathing. So also too, when it's breaking down, it releases CO2 to the back of the stomata. Okay, so that's another thing. Also, Tom, some of those materials can be released some biological chemicals to suppress weeds. It also suppresses other plants from coming in. It may have a little allelopathic effect, smothering effect, doesn't prevent. So just think about all those things we just numbered, just the skin alone. Okay? So I don't care if it's corn, I don't care if it's this tree, all of them will start shedding some leaves to start. Forests do that, tropical forests do this. They create that skin as quick as possible. Now, what happens in the pasture ecosystem if we're overgrazing?
It's gone.
Do we have enough energy to create that skin?
No.
What happens when a pasture is not cycling that material? That material should not have its 5th birthday there. What happens in a pasture ecosystem if it's not cycling? What is that saying to you?
Dead.
Because we want it to cycle, right?
So we're not feeding the microbes.
We're not feeding the biology, the diversity, herd impact.
Nothing for nothing.
Nutrient release.
I want it
Instead
to
of
cycle,
something for nothing.
Yeah.
right? I don't want it to pile up.
No.
Yeah.
So is there a sodic spot? Is there a chemistry spot problem? What's going on? That's also an indicator something may be going on in that system. Okay, the next one is, stand up here. This is called the agratosphere, the aggregate. Inside the aggregate, it's called the porosphere. Aggregate is the agratosphere. These little clumping, these granular structures, these material is created, as we talked about, the hyphae network, the roots, the superbiotic glues, biology, and inside is the porosphere.
And it's low oxygen.
Yeah, and it's like little marbles that allows the water to infiltrate.
And the saprophytes can't attack it.
And so this aggregates takes a lot of energy. So let me tell you, you can go into a field, especially a grazing system, and you may not be able to tell, even in a compacted grazing system, you still have some aggregation, but you'll have a diminishing. So when you do send it to a lab, they can tell a delineation between the microaggregate and the macroaggregate. You can do those studies. The lab will do that for you.
Right.
And there's other tests you can do in the field. You have one field that you've done that does aggregates, differentiation of the aggregates.
There's the water tests from my point of view, you do the water test, which looks at if you've got aggregation, it doesn't break down after 20 minutes. There's the hardness test, there's the pinch test, there's quite a few you can do, but ultimately one of the best one is to push in a rod. If you've got good aggregation, the rod goes in.
You remember that rod that I showed you in the winter? Do you see this big clumping right here?
But
What's the difference between a rod, a clump and an aggregate, please?
Size. What else?
More than size.
What else do you think?
Clods are compacted and don't have any biology. The aggregates are the result of the biology sticking in the hairy roots, the Rastafarian roots.
and the clump's got the plant in it.
Because really the soil is a matrix of aggregation. If you look at it under, and they do 3D mapping, it is a caverns and this beautiful underground caverns of aggregation put together on the top part. But you're saying this, if when you go out, you have a series of them clumped together is...
Clod itself, so you throw a clod. As a kid we used to have clod fights.
Yeah.
And the
Knock
clods,
everybody out.
it hurt like all
That's soil
hell.
out of country.
The clods are held together, sorry I confused everybody, by water suction and mineral cements. Aggregates are held together by organic matter, and clumps are organic matter and living roots hold the whole system together. So you pull something up, you pull a swath up, and the swath's a series of clumps, or you break the clump off and you get to aggregates. And then aggregates you can break down to smaller aggregates, but they don't break down any further. If you put them in water and leave them for a couple of hours, they might break down as labile carbon goes.
And we call that microaggregates.
Yeah.
And so interesting, says and keep in mind, Dr. Six, you want to write him down, Dr. Johann Six, I call him the father of aggregates. He has more knowledge about aggregates than anybody in the world. If you watch any literature, that man is, I call him Dr. Aggregate. But he also says that aggregates typically only last about 27 days. So they're always being built, always being consumed. It's a dynamic system. And he's talking about the bigger aggregates and the micro aggregates, that's different. So they're always changing, like what he's talking about. So here's the whole point. I never thought that infiltration was a dynamic number.
Oh.
I thought it was fixed as what I was looking at soil physics. It's not fixed. And that's why I get concerned when we design irrigation systems with one value. And so really when you go out there, you should really do another assessment to see if that value is correct. So that's very important.
That's like us doing our farm planning on our average rainfall.
We design our irrigation systems, flood systems, on destroyed soils. They are not aggregated soils, not functioning soils. In fact, once your soil starts becoming very well aggregated, you cannot push water to the end. You have to change the whole irrigation system. The only problem with those flood situations is you flood the upper end, drown it, make it go anaerobic, and you can't get the water to the end, then you have this massive dry spot. And then you have it from the 2/3 zone, because I used to design those systems. So it's a problem. So then what you have to do is bring another gated pipe or split the field in half. And I hate flood because it's like 25% application efficiency. Yeah, and it can make it go anaerobic. So it's really not a good system, but we do that anyway. Okay, so we got the aggregates. It's at the pores. Then there's another sphere called the drillosphere. Drillosphere is boring insects. It could be earthworms. It could be termites. Those little holes are very rich in phosphorus and nitrogen. Anytime the tree roots, hair roots, if you have corn, soybean plants, they hit that drillosphere, very rich in phosphorus and bacteria.
And easy to run down.
Yeah, so it saves energy. So a phyllo, skin. So the phyllo, I call it the mouth. The plant is, the ancient people called the mouth of the soil the plant. I always think about that. It's the mouth of the soil. So you got mouth, skin. If you look at the aggregate, I call it the lungs of the soil.
Oh, really?
Have you ever seen an image of the air sacs in your lung?
Yep.
They are covered with veins and arteries, and the diffusion rate is phenomenal. It looks just like an aggregate. If you look at the picture of an aggregate covered with fungal hyphae, root hairs, looks just like an aggregate, and it's at the pore. The diffusion rate is phenomenal. Okay, the other one, okay, so we talked to drill, and the last one, without this one, there'd be nothing else, the rhizosphere. So here's my thing. All these spheres need to be present if you're going to have a functioning water cycle and a nutrient cycle. And you have to have biodiversity. So all these things are incredibly important for the design. So the more you disturb the design, the more it's going to cost you. This is where the water cycle, nutrient cycle, biodiversity, all of these happen right at the soil surface. And there has to be design to be able to make all those processes work. So that's the first thing I do is I get a shovel, and I got to see all those spheres present. There's the phyllo, the skin detritus, the agratosphere, the porosphere is where the microbes swim in there, and the rhizosphere. And the drillosphere. Thank you. And drillo. Drillosphere. So how many do we have? 6?
6.
Yep, there's 6 of them. And I added the phylosphere. There was 5 in the research paper, so you don't get mad at me because I added the phyllo. But I think it's an incredible sphere. It's probably one of the largest surfaces on the planet that we do not account for. So it's really important. Ready, Martin? You ready to do it?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll show you how to do it. You already got it down? So I usually use a 6-inch ring, 6x6, and we got it calibrated. Our agency calibrated 6x6. It's to 1 acre inch. 1 acre inch of water is in an acre is 27,154 gallons.
You don't worry about talking that stuff with us.
Okay, let's convert it.
Yeah,
converted by
3.75 litres in a gallon.
how much?
no, we just way do it. All going to be hectares and millimeters and meters.
Okay, so that's why I'm asking you to do it in your mind.
Oh, I'm good, Ray, but
I'm
I
just
do
telling
have
you.
limitations.
Just understand that there is numbers to this. It's not just kind of. All you got to do is convert it. 20. Do it again. 27,154 gallons in an acre inch.
Can you go one more time?
27. 154.
We're wasting time.
We can do
So-
just converting it to you so you memorize it.
So why are you actually interested in that, Ray?
There's many reasons why we're interested in that rate. Because then we determine how much the infiltration rate is in inches per hour. You convert it.
But why don't you just measure in 6 minutes? You tip it in. You measure where it comes up to.
We are doing that.
Wait 6 minutes.
We're doing
Measure the lower bit and say, okay, you don't need to measure the area or anything else. You know that much water,
Millimeters per minute.
millimetres. Well, you work it out in 6 minutes and then you multiply it by 10 and you get millimetres per hour.
And that's all on a Source for Life fact sheet if everyone wants to look.
Yeah.
And so you don't need to do any calculations.
Yeah, what's his calculation?
Yeah,
Okay, if you want to irrigate, sure. But if you don't want to irrigate,
But it also comes from the fact is how quick a good healthy soil should infiltrate. I like to see soils infiltrate 20 inches per hour. There's standards here. Like the average in the United States, you know what the average infiltration rate is? 1.5 inch per hour. That's why we're doing what the numbers we're doing. We want to know how fast the soil is taking the water.
no, I get that. But
But-
you don't need to know the area.
I tell you what, Campbell, why don't you do the math for us, and let's do it this way, and then do it your way, and see if we come out close.
It's real easy. But anyway,
Okay, let's do it anyway, just for now. Okay.
Yeah, no, I get it.
we
I
need,
just,
we need a piece of paper and
no,
20
you-
minutes to
But hold on.
then like
Right now.
In your metric system, every centimetre is 100,000 litres.
Thank you. Tom did it in his head.
Oh, God, well done, Tom.
Tom, you did it. See?
That's a resource. Everybody, if you need an unlimited resource, Tom's it. Get his number.
Oh dear.
No, but put the pair together, and man.
Tom, tell me it again so I memorize it. How much was it?
Each centimetre
Centimetre, I can get that one.
over a hectare is 100,000 litres.
Thank you. I got it.
To measure 4 inches, like 100 mils, over a hectare is 1,000,000 litres.
Okay. This 444 mils equals 1 acre inch.
So all we need to do really is get a stopwatch.
Yes.
And somebody to write down 2 numbers for us.
Got your stopwatch on?
I'm filming.
Oh, who's got a
Stopwatch. We've got a stopwatch here.
Put your stopwatch on your phone.
Greg's doing it.
No,
6 minutes.
Campbell, since you were so obstinate, you do this. Now, here's how I want you to do it.
Who's ready to write down the millimetres, right?
Okay. I want you to put your, when you're ready. Yes, sir, Gary?
Put it in.
Yeah.
That's going to take an hour to soak in.
Now,
On the average soil in America.
yes.
Not this soil.
Yeah.
Is that getting a bit of
What
context
it's
around?
saying our soils are infiltrating an inch. What did I say? An inch and a half in 1 hour.
So that's going to be about 45, 50 minutes
Yeah. Or actually 3.
for that to soak in.
So, okay. So here's.
Might not measure a difference.
Okay. So,
We want 3 in there.
okay, guys. Is this soil very dry?
Very dry.
And sometimes you're supposed to do it.
Hey, Phil.
Good go.
Everybody, pay attention. This is very important for doing this test. What's the water holding capacity in this? How much water, available water, is in here right now?
Very low.
Very low. Okay, so when I do this test, if I grab a chunk, you can't grab this because it's so hard, it's so dry. When I grab a chunk of soil and I can make a ball out of it and throw it up in the air, and if I can catch it, if it does not break up, I have over 50% water holding capacity. You only pour it once. If it breaks up on you, you have to do it twice. This is very dry. We're doing it twice. The first one does not count. Why doesn't the first one count?
You're calibrating it.
Get it up.
You gotta what?
You've got to get it to a saturation point that the numbers actually mean something, because it's so dry.
Hey, what else?
Just like,
Is it activation?
What else? Phil's going to come up with one. What else? Why do I not count the first?
It's going to act hydrophobic tension.
Why?
Sorry?
it takes too much water.
It's because when you pour that first one, you're going to move all those tiny little particulates and they're going to settle. It's going to be the second one that will really determine the pore space in infiltration. Infiltration is a function of porosity. We're measuring, really, if you think about it, this test is actually measuring aggregation, porosity, infiltration. Those are all connected to each other. So the first one does not count. Now, if you already have water holding capacity in there, you only have to do it once. Okay? So we're going to do it twice. So the first one does not count. Ready? So we're going to time it. Ready? Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Now you got to put your hand out here. Okay, go. Let's do this.
So what are we going to do? Just tell me.
Okay, you can get you can get this out. Hold on a second.
Yep.
You're going to put your hand in here.
Yeah.
And you're going to pour it like this. Don't throw the water in like that, because you're just going to seal the soil surface. But what you do is pour it, like create a cup.
Yep.
And pour it and let it go.
Okay.
So you tell me when you're ready.
So we're not measuring.
Put your hand at the bottom there.
Yeah.
Start at the finish.
Yeah, he's going to, no, when you say ready,
Ready?
go ahead and pour it.
Now you can cut a piece of shade cloth.
Yeah.
And you double the shade cloth over and just put it down the base.
You can do that. Well, yeah, whatever.
Oh, so you don't.
The man that understands principles can choose his method. Yep. Go ahead and pour it faster. There you go.
Okay.
Now. 20.
You do your infiltration twice a year, do you?
Yep.
And what's your normal rate?
Depends on where I am on the farm.
Oh, exactly, if you're in the spring or not. Spring it could be
I think
pretty
it's
hard,
doing
is
quite
it?
well.
Often
That
we're
was
too
from when
wet
he
in
started
spring.
pouring
It's
it.
got a huge suction.
Fully
right?
saturated.
Well, yeah.
What's this? Yep. Doing wonderful. I want to
Nearly
be
done?
when
We're
it's
nearly
gone from the top of the surface, I call it. And I'm going to get ready.
Oh.
I want to see when you call it. This is always
Yeah, look at it. See it? I can still see water on the top.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it yet. I just
Not
want to
yet.
see when you'll call it.
And that was 20. So
What's the timer right now?
110.
110 is excellent.
that's
How many inches is this meant to be, Ray?
well,
So do you do visual?
it's
Because I
just
stick
shorter.
my finger in there
It's
to
20
see if it's
millimeters. It
gone.
was 20 millimeters.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Or should I not be doing that?
when I started.
Oh, on the bottom edge here is a bit, eh?
Yeah. Let's call it.
I'll say you just average it.
Just average it. Yeah.
You don't have to
What did it come out?
Minute 30.
Okay.
That's nice.
Now minute and 29 seconds. That's fantastic. Okay. Anything under 3 minutes is over 20 inches. You will have the chart. You will be on your Google Drive. That comes from SES USDA. It's a 40-page manual on these basic things. You will have it. You can convert it to matrix. Now, that one doesn't count. The next one counts. Okay, now, who thinks they're going to have a good infiltration rate or not a good infiltration
Pour it a
rate?
little bit quicker so that we can get our first.
Oh, raise your hand. Come on, everybody. Who's got either? Come on, fess up.
I reckon
Where are you at?
I reckon it'll take twice as long to infiltrate this next one
Why is that?
because it's partly saturated.
Go and give
And
us a
so
figure.
you've got to get
So give us a minute. Give us a minute estimate. We're just having fun.
220.
220.
I'll go.
Okay, it was one something. What did you think, Greg?
130.
129. I'll go with 149 for the next.
What, the next
149. That's not
I'll go
double.
with 1
Oh
minute
yeah,
and
so
40 seconds.
249.
240.
I'll go 3 minutes.
I reckon 45 seconds.
Who thinks it's going to be under 5 minutes?
Oh, no, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Not knowing this all.
Anybody think it's going to be over?
It's going to be under a minute.
You want a minute?
Yeah.
Tony, I'm ready for a beer at the pub. Come on, let's go for it. I think ready.
You ready?
Yeah.
Resetting. Wait, she's resetting.
And go ahead and pour as fast as you can.
Go.
Okay.
There you go. Go.
28 or no 30.
Come and lean over. So they're racing and the water's up high and it looks like it's going to be a close call.
And somebody did put the timer on, right?
Going down.
Okay, how many?
He poured it 3 times as quickly as the first time.
What
Yeah, but
time
he
Yeah,
had
well,
his
that-
hand on it.
I don't think that matters.
It was sort of there was like maybe the difference was that the first time was 25 millimeters, but that 5 millimeters might have disappeared in the time that it took you to.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, we were pretty close to 30 millimeters. That
What time are we at
We're
now?
going to blow the 1 minuters out of the water. Oh.
yeah.
All right.
No.
Gone,
Yeah,
isn't
it's
it?
always
Tom, I don't know. You're going to have to buy beer for everybody.
Shut the bar.
We're still on 22 millimeters.
I'm going.
We've only gone 8.
Hey, who's going to call it?
Ray will.
No, it's not yet. Don't
Not
call
yet.
it. Yeah, we got heaps. There's
I
heaps,
gotta
heaps
see.
of water in the swimming
I
pool.
gotta see most of the water gone. It's not yet there.
It's going to be gone at 220.
But I'm going to tell
We're
you.
down to 20 millimeters.
Is this
So it's a
special
third
water?
gone now.
Huh?
So do your maths on that.
what?
It's molecular
Yeah, it's
hydrogen
molecular
water.
Oh,
Three
you
times
cheated.
what are we
Look at
making?
the hydrogen water.
4 minutes and 30.
How much?
4 minutes.
No, as in down from 6.
Where are we at?
No, this one's easier.
What are you at?
So it's going to be about 3 times whatever
That's
it is now.
6 minutes.
That's all.
138?
141, 142, 143.
I think we're going to be under 3.
I think it's going to be a bit more than 220. I think
Very
we'll blow
dry
out of
soil
water.
will take 3 to 4 minutes of
I
constant
think I have my little USDA chart here on my phone.
Say that again.
It'll be at least 3 or 4 minutes of constant
minutes.
infiltration to get past the
SES,
suction.
did you say?
Yeah, it's called the soil quality book. I will have it on the website for
Suction
you.
is
Up to
defined
you
as
have
sorptivity.
Yeah.
So
So
airdrop it to you.
what you do is you take your numbers, if you've got a constant feed of water, and you plot fall against time. And once it gets in steady slope,
Looking, no,
that's your
not yet.
infiltration rate.
It's looking good. I'm impressed.
We're still at 15 millimeters.
Getting close to my call.
So we're about half.
Yeah. No, I think you were right,
So
Greg,
then
but I
double
wasn't going
that's
to tell you
about
that. I don't want you to get a big
5
head.
minutes. Oh shit, we might be all wrong here.
Well, that's, opinions are good.
Good,
wear a
because we'll
small
remember the science.
Usually a little bit longer.
I like that. That's funny.
But I was in Victoria one time when we did this, and we had it and we ran a question time with a group about the same thing, and ran around the whole group, and everybody in the whole group had their say on this question, and there was still water in the bloody thing.
Yeah. Oh, here it is.
They were grazing, ryegrass and clover, and thought they'd been doing all right job on their grazing.
Getting good. Okay, see the values? Less than 3 minutes is over 20 inches per hour.
10 millimeters.
320.
3 to 10 minutes
Did I
is
say
6
that
to
last time?
20 inches per hour.
It's slowing right down now.
How many milliliters did you put in?
Huh?
How many milliliters?
444 milliliters of water equals 1 acre inch. And Tom told us already what the conversions were. It's getting really close.
No, they're still at 8 millimeters or something.
Well, but there's a hole there.
I've been putting this at the same spot all the time.
Okay,
I don't want to. Every time you push it in, you deepen.
Nah,
I'm
I'm a scientist.
Oh my goodness. I should record this.
Ray, this is science.
This is science.
In the true definition of the word, this is science.
Can anybody argue with him? No. And if they
Wouldn't
do,
want to.
We'll take. No, I don't want to argue with you. It's like peeing on a fence.
We're still at about 5, so we haven't got much now. What's your number now?
That's pretty good.
It's a
Oh,
bit
we
more
all got
poorly
blown
on
out.
the call.
No, he said 5. We were all sub 5, and
No, we're 433.
it's my bat and my ball. I'm going home.
Tantrum. Science tanty.
About 20 seconds until we're all wrong.
I know, but a majority of it's gone.
General.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can look at the whole thing. I call it after the whole thing, but that could be a little spot.
There's not much, only 2 millimeters left in there.
Yeah, in your hole.
Yeah.
But we caught it when there's a bit in that bottom corner last time too.
That's 5 minutes.
Okay, well,
We're going to call it?
yes, we'll call it. Okay, here's what it comes out to, guys. Anywhere from 3 to 10 minutes. Anywhere under 3 to 2. Let's see, how was it? Yeah, 3 to 10 minutes is 6 to 20 inches per hour.
We'll call it now.
You know what this is called? Rapid.
Oh,
So your soil's doing wonderful.
Yeah.
I would go another one.
What would you say? Do another one?
Yeah, I'd go another one.
You want to do another pour in?
Because in terms of we're at permanent wilting point, so the suction capacity both beneath, within the core and surrounding the core is huge. I don't think we're at infiltration right yet.
You know how to do it. Get ready with your cock.
It's fast.
Forget Phil, man. Phil says, man, forget you other scientists down USDA. Let's do one for Phil.
We got a bottle.
Do one for Phil. Hold on a second. Let's do one for Phil. Hey, maybe we should do a movie. Let's do one for Phil. Yay, let's do one for Phil. Okay, everybody got timer on?
Roll him out of
Everyone
or whatever.
knows that we actually have a free site for farmers of which we're going to put up
Like a lot of people.
infiltration rate for any diameter. So you can push any diameter thing in. As long as you measure the volume and the time, we'll give you the infiltration curve
good
and the
idea.
actual infiltration rate.
Great.
And the two are different.
Good
Probably
idea.
about 2 or 3 months. The
Good.
site's ready for all kinds of testing at the
Part
moment.
of, like, that's not a real that's
Good.
sort of
And send me that link.
vegetative smell as well. Like
There's living stuff.
Oh, good. Thank you. Hey, hold on a second. Ready? You guys want to do this? You want to do it one more time? Yeah. Do you want to do it for Phil? Yeah. Let's do it for Phil. Ready? Go. Do it for Phil.
He's been going 4 seconds.
Okay, Phil. Now you got to explain why the third one and what timing do you expect. Man, you gotta fill in now.
I think it'll be in the range. Is the first one went 1.5 minutes. The second one went out to 5 minutes, which means we may not be at true infiltration rate. It might be close. If the soil was moist and we got a rainfall event on it, it might actually be out at about 8 or 9 minutes. We're getting close to the true infiltration rate, but I don't think we're at it yet.
Okay. So it's interesting. Remember I told you if the soil was already moist and I create a ball, throw it up in the air, I'm already at 50%, above 50% water holding capacity. But we only do it once after that.
Yes.
Okay, so you're saying we wanted to make it at water capacity.
No, well, if you're looking at a long rainfall event, when the soil is moist. It's the true infiltration rate that you're seeking to measure. Not when the soil like this is actually at permanent wilting point. And it might take more to get to what you're calling the sticky point, I think is where you're trying to describe.
We call that, well, anything below 50, going close to 30 is permanent wilting point.
Yeah, in this soil you're probably right, but we'll see.
Okay, so what are you going to say? What time do you think it's going to be?
I would say it'd be close to 8 minutes.
8 minutes?
About 28, 27 or 28.
Okay, so here's the thing. How many of us think that Phil's right at 8 minutes?
So we're throwing in about 10 times.
So if Phil's wrong, he's going to buy us a beer.
Sevens!
Ray,
Okay, so what do you think, Greg?
no, I was going to ask you a different question.
Yes?
Gabe Brown's big event, 13 inches overnight thunderstorm,
Yeah.
all infiltrated.
Yes.
What was the capacity? But he felt that he was on the limit because you could just see some small movements of litter at the bottom of a paddock.
Yeah.
So that 13
I've been on that soil.
right.
And the district conservationists did the infiltration rates on that. And yeah, it was, what was it, like 30 inches per hour or something? It was just so
No, I don't
stupid.
know.
It was a
it was
huge
13
amount.
inches,
It was amazing. And then
and
he
it was
able,
less than overnight.
yeah, and you were able to walk on it the next day.
Well, he was able to drive his ute.
Yeah,
His
it's
pickup
pretty.
truck.
It's pretty impressive. But here's the thing: those soils over there were once prairie soils too. The whole prairie went up to that point there. He's got some really good inherent soil properties.
Yeah.
Now, you guys understand when I say inherit soil?
Yeah.
So what does that mean to you guys when I say inherit?
Good balance of nutrients.
Okay,
Once upon a time.
you see Campbell, he inherently, like me, inherit white hair. I've had white hair, gray hair, white hair. My parents have it. That's inherent properties. Inherent properties are mineralogy, the climate. Was it a native grassland? Those are inherent properties. His inherent properties are amazing. The inherent properties here,
Crap.
they're like mine. You and I, Campbell, we have crap.
There.
But I'm okay with crap.
Yeah.
I can afford crap.
Yes.
I would love your trees.
Likewise. Yeah.
I would love your trees. I'll trade you. You've been studying soil way too much.
This is something totally aside, right?
Yeah.
Thoughts on biochar?
Oh, hey, I want Phil in this discussion, guys. Lucas brought up a good point. I want your guys' opinion on biochar. What do you guys think of biochar? Phil, what do you think of biochar?
Okay, a quick bit of background so you know my bias on this. I clean up pollution. One of my specialties is cleaning up gasworks and chars, what's called black carbon. So don't import char, like you don't import sewage treatment works until you know exactly how it's made.
Yep.
Because it could have PFAS in it, it could have what's known as PHs, which is the liquid tars. However, char is a beautiful compound once you've got rid of the condensates. So tar has micropores that are smaller than soil and clays. It has macropores and mesopores. The mesopores can hold communities for the biology. The micropores can hold nutrients, and the mesopores hold water. But the beauty about them is the exchange bases it sets up in the presence of calcium together with organic matter. So it becomes, with the presence of fungi, which charges its surface. So if a fire comes through, 6 months after the fire, the fungi will have charged the surface, and you end up with a surface activated charge, which then allows you, through the calcium magnesium, to build organic matter up in your profile, which is why I'm an advocate of once every 10-year burning in low fertility soils. So chars have a use in low fertility, low CEC, soil-based environments. The cheapest and easiest way for you to get them, apart from charring your own timber, is to run an autumn low temperature fire with the dew coming on, because you want it to char, not
burn.
ash.
Yeah.
Then You want to stimulate after the fire the fungi, so brief spray of sugar solution with a little bit of nitrogen. The fungi will then get going. The fungi then put carboxyl group, forget the science, the fungi just charge up the char.
So let me ask you, Phil, to be effective, do you have to incorporate it in the soil, or you leave it on the top of the soil?
Well, the really interesting thing is Australia, if the char didn't break down reasonably quickly, Australia would drown in char, as would the US prairie. We've had in Australia 200,000 years of burning. When the Aboriginals arrived, we had 70,000 years of accelerated burning. Since Clovis, the last 8,000 years in the prairie lands, it's been burnt. You can't find a lot of char. The char is broken by bioturbation, insects, the like, moving it down into the soil. So it doesn't matter if it's not in the soil, it'll be moved down.
7.5.
And then it'll start, go the timing, and then, then it'll start to be broken down.
5mm.
So
And what time did you say?
I said approximately 8 minutes.
Getting close. What do you got right now?
7:45.
So you don't think it has to be incorporated?
Doesn't have to be incorporated because it will through your activities. Now,
But some people are trying to use it to remediate their soils that have been having lots and lots of manures and salts. How does that help in that system like that?
different purpose. You're using it in that system to sorb up the salts and to allow them.
You can't have the salts can't make a gradient and come to the top of the surface to the biochar.
No, not necessarily, because you're always also using the biochar at the root surface in this instance to protect the root from toxicity.
So you don't think you have to incorporate it at all?
Well, I'm saying that the systems we use is just burning is the cheapest way for farmers. If you've got a toxic system, I wouldn't use biochar on its own. I would use biochar in the seed zone impregnated with halide tolerant species. So you can go and actually pick up from your salt zones, shake the root out, take the stuff from the root, get a water solution and take your lucerne seed or whatever you want, and you'll make it salt tolerant. But you put the char in as well, just a little bit of char.
Okay, we get the number.
We're at 9 minutes.
9 minutes.
Can you say that last bit again, please?
This is a recent paper. I'm sorry, I read a lot.
I'm glad you read a lot.
This is a
I think I
recent.
had too many
Yeah, well,
bits
if
of
you read it, I don't
information
have
came
to.
at me and then I read a lot.
That's exactly as long as you'll be yapping.
Right, so there's a paper done on clover recently, looking at pot trials showing clover in pure salt, lucerne clover, which are fairly intolerant to salt.
It's about
So it's showing them in pure salt. It's showing
Good, take it out.
the seed mixed in a bit of salt bush solution from salt bush and then grown. And the difference in height is you've got very very small, limited emergence, or no emergence at all, compared to healthy plants. So the halite bacteria and fungi from the macrophytes in used to salt conditions somehow impregnate the seed.
You know what the value is taking out? I think it's got a range.
Temperatures with my butt.
It's still 6. It's no, it's rapid.
There's the line there.
But this is really good.
I'm still not 100% convinced we're past selectivity, but that's all right.
It's okay. We still.
Because
Has it gone sideways after that?
we're not on the flat line.
This is where we need the
I'm very happy with
you need the toy one.
He didn't piss on the fence, he got under the shovel. Just hold that there for me, sir. I just
What are you
want,
gonna do?
I want the straight edge across there.
Okay.
You should be very happy.
Okay.
We better get going. Okay.
Is someone going to leave before midnight?
About,
well, let's get
about
going
90 millimetres of infiltration we got.
How much?
90? See you everyone.
90?
9 centimetres.
3.5 inches.
Great. Did you guys enjoy this exercise?
If anyone needs to go into
So it's helpful? This is good. You did good.
Hey, I'll put this in first.
Very good.
We'll go back in.
It's worth just bringing Phil out here, isn't it?
I put this one in there.
Awesome. I'm going to look him up. I want to be on his friends list on Facebook.
Too busy
Where's the other lead?
I'll probably get his number so I can ring him.
Who lost the other lead?
What's your grassy? What's that grass?
That's probably fog grass.
Okay, guys, let's go to dinner and.
What did you call it?
Probably fog grass.
Never heard of it.
Yorkshire fog.
Hey, Phil, take it.
Grow tall or?
Yeah, it grows to here.
Thanks, Phil. Let's go, guys. We've got to go.
Have you ever thought about putting chooks underneath rather than bringing back lambs?
I would love to do chooks, and I just don't want to do them myself. And I actually put a note out saying who wants to run chooks, bring their chickens and run a chicken tractor system. Because I did have a chicken tractor system on another section with olives, and the trees went berserk. They loved it. No problems. As long as you have organic feed, no problems.
And not organic chooks.
Oh, yeah, no.
Have to be organic.
Your chooks don't have to be, but the feed does have to be. As long as you have your chickens in a certain area for 3 weeks. And
Quarantine.
so you've got a quarantine time, and then you've just got to feed them organic feed. The advantage is that I have a lot of wattles here, and I can use wattle seed as chook feed. And so I don't have the high cost associated with importing a whole lot of feed. So it's and I know there's some people who are doing that exclusively. So they planted particular acacias, which are very high in protein. Acacias generally seed has high protein, and it produces a lot of it, and they're essentially running their chooks underneath it.
If you ran multi-species through here, and then you've got good green tucker for the chooks too.
Yeah, so
As well.
so I am actually drilling into this, but I'll wait a little bit longer because it could be another month before it rains.
Do you get much predation or insect attack much? Or is that...
No insects, but birds are an issue. Yeah.
So that's something that I've noticed now, that having more birds, that basically my veggies are just denuded.
Yeah, so around my orchard I've had to net it.
Yeah, well,
Otherwise I wouldn't end up.
I don't have any insects, but I didn't think about the birds going, it's all mine. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. And no, you're doing a great job.
Oh.
When the farmer stands there and says, I'm happy, like we got better than 3 happies out here, like. And you've built bloody soil carbon and all sorts of good shit, yeah.
So yeah,
Proud of you.
I've got a way to go yet.
Oh, but you're on the way.
Yeah, I reckon we're getting there, but plenty of opportunity yet. Yeah.
Well done, that was great. That was probably my most fun infiltration test I've ever done.